Hello, everybody. Welcome to Running Code, humor in South Texas law enforcement. I'm your host, T-Bone. With me and got in my back and always by my side, my partner, J-Man. J-Man,
What's up,
say
man?
hi to the crowd.
Hi, crowd.
He's very expressive. And new member of the cast, Jax. This is he decided he wanted to be in here for the show, so for the dog lovers, we decided to add a third party to the show. So you'll see him occasionally. He can't stand to be without attention. For those of you that do not know, new listeners maybe, or haven't figured it out yet, which would scare me, we do have a YouTube channel as well, so you can watch this also, not just listen to it, but actually watch the actual episode, and that's Running Code on YouTube. That's RUNNIN apostrophe space code. Don't confuse it with Running Code. It's Running Code. So, J-Man, today we're going to talk about how different agencies work together. And the hilarity that can sometimes ensue when you start mixing different agencies. Some don't mix well with others.
Yeah.
Some mix very well with others.
Yeah.
But my experience has been the former. They just don't mix well. And it's a different mindset, depending on whether it's sheriff's office or a municipality or a federal agency or a state agency or maybe military law enforcement. You know, like last episode we talked about military police, and it can be hilarious at times. We don't always cooperate. We don't always work together. There's a lot of finger pointing. Sometimes when something goes wrong, when they're all working together, all of a sudden it's you did it, you did it. People seem to think that we fight for cases. It couldn't be further than the truth. We try to push cases back off. Oh no, that's happened on your side.
Like literally,
He died over here, but he was stabbed on your side. No. That's a homicide on your side.
place where I work, there is a street that runs through three separate cities in the same neighborhood. Imagine 3 cities share the same neighborhood, and one street runs through all 3 jurisdictions.
Oh, that must be a nightmare.
It is. It really is a nightmare.
That's a jurisdictional problem.
Then there's an intersection where half is on one side and half's on the other side. So we split an intersection with another
Do
jurisdiction.
you guys have their frequencies?
Yes. So
Okay.
like you can scan
You have
and stuff like
what
that.
is it? I can't remember what it's called. Mutual aid.
Yeah. So there, yeah, it's a large mutual aid, which is like 4 or 5 agencies,
Okay.
including the military, and it's just funny.
Yeah.
It's real funny. It's annoying, but it's funny.
So we have, as deputies, we have a different mindset than most municipal police agencies, and they definitely have here they think they're better than us.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, we know we're better than them. The difference is because we start in the jail. And if you can survive working in that building for 2 to 5 years before you become a patrolman, you're going to be a much better patrolman.
Know what you're doing now?
There.
You're kicking up dust.
I'm not trying to kick up no dust. I'm just saying truth. And it's not their fault. It's their background. If you've never been in law enforcement and you go to a municipal police department and you go to the academy and go straight to the streets, you don't have a background of dealing with that like you would in the jail.
That is
where you
true.
deal with it day in, day out. You know what their tattoos mean, what they say, what that means, all that. You have a grounding. Plus, they're the same people you're going to deal with on the street. You just deal with them there. They might not be armed. I say might because there's no guarantees even in jail.
Oh yeah.
But they're the same criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn how to deal with them in there using your brain and your mouth first before you use your fists. That can only make you a better cop when you come out because it's the same concept. The concepts don't change just because you're inside the jail. Now you're on the street. It's still the same concepts of being able to communicate and talk to people and de-escalate when you have to and know when to fight. Sometimes you just going to have to fight. Regardless of how nice you're trying to be, some people just got to fight.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That is very true.
They dictated the conversation, not you. You tried your best. So there is a distinct organizational thought process that is different between them. And then you got your state police, which, God bless DPS. Texas DPS, they're great. They're allowed to do their job without interference because they work for the director who works for the governor. That's it. They don't play local politics. They don't have to because they work directly for one person.
Mm-hmm.
So the troopers assigned to this county do stuff that we would dream about being able to do because, again, they report to one person who reports to one person.
Yeah.
So it's all politics is local. But it's like the feds that work in this county don't really have the same political issue because they don't work at the county level. They work at the federal level.
Yep.
So now, do we work with the feds? Absolutely work with the FBI, the DEA, the U.S. Marshals, the ATF, OSI, NCIS, work with all of them
Mm-hmm.
because we all have the same mission. But the thought process and the how they go about things is completely different agency to agency to agency. You got your FBI agents who are all graham cracker and, Mother God and apple pie and Hoover's little boys and girls. and they're 23 years old, don't know shit about the real world. They have law degrees, accounting degrees, medical degrees. They don't know a damn thing about the real world, but they're been told they're the top of the food chain, law enforcement. Okay. Then you have your DEA. DEA does the narcotic stuff. So they're a little more down to earth. They're a little more, they start getting involved in it and they start picking that crap up quicker. And I will tell you, the best federal agents are former street cops.
Yeah.
All of it. If you were a street cop in LA, here, Dallas, Houston, Chicago, New York, and you were a cop for at least 5 years there, you'll be a great fed because you already know what these people mean when they do this. They mean this and what they're wearing. And you already have the grounding that they don't get.
Can't be the 27-year-old accountant major from Soho.
Yeah. It's like,
be a good DEA agent.
I mean, you can, but it's going to be a high learning curve for you. Your learning curve is going to be like this, straight up. Like, and then you got your ATF, which they have a different function. Their job is to track and, firearms and stuff like that. And we don't work with them a whole lot. And then the marshals, the fugitive task force guys, those guys are awesome. Those guys act the most like street cops.
Yeah, well, because their whole, mostly like the field agents, their big deal is like warrant service, right?
Yeah, well, warrant, fugitives. So they go after the worst of the worst. They go after, if the marshals, fugitive task force is coming after you, you're not a nice person. They're bringing all their big guns, so to speak. They're bringing the guys that will crack your head in a heartbeat. They won't even hesitate because they're used to dealing with the worst of the worst. Plus, they also added sex offender to the marshals' purview several years ago. I mean, it had to be 10 years ago, maybe even longer. But they added the U.S. Marshals to it. Or sex offenders to the marshals as well. So now they deal with that. Mm-hmm. So if you violate and you cross state lines, the marshals deal with it now and they charge you federally. Oh. So so our sex offender officer, if we get an absconder from a different state that comes to our state who violated sex offender registry in their state, then we call the marshals. The marshals deal with it. Marshals run a federal warrant. They deal with it. Okay. And they violate them. So if it's a state charge, they won't deal with it. But if they cross state lines, they absconded from whatever state they're a registered sex offender and came here without telling anybody. The marshals deal with it. Yeah. So, and then you got your maybe smaller agencies that have never dealt with the inspector general of the post office. They are law enforcement. They absolutely are. We never dealt with them. I've never dealt with them. IRS don't deal with the treasury agents. Never have. Dealt with the Secret Service a few times when we provide support for the Secret Service. Those guys have no sense of humor, but honestly, they can't afford to have a sense of humor. Their job is political, whether they like it or not. Yeah. They're very visible and they have very little screw up space in the Secret Service. I mean, you can't really screw up. You screw up once, and that's usually the end. And you won't be fired, maybe, but you're going to go to some outposts in Alaska chasing counterfeiters. So you're no longer a protective detail. You're a street, street investigator. So, and then you got your municipal agencies, large and small. Yeah. So you may have a small little agency that maybe only has a population of 15,000. Up to all the way, you got Austin size, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, El Paso, Amarillo. That's pretty decent sized population, or Midland or Odessa. Mm-hmm. That's got a huge population. And their mindset might be a little more run and gun. And then you have your county mounties. So constitutionally, the only required law enforcement in any county is the sheriff. Yeah. Municipal police departments are not required and can go away. And the sheriff would just have to take over all law enforcement in that county. Because the sheriff has 3 responsibilities. Law enforcement in the county, court security, and jails. Yep. Those are his 3 responsibilities. So we don't need municipal police departments. They could dry up. We would just take over. We'd probably more than likely just hire all their guys, take their budget, and go, you're now deputies. Congratulations. Same job. Yeah. Same job, same CAD, same everything, same laws. They don't change. So go handle business, but now you're a deputy. So could we do that legally? Yes, we could. Are we? No, it's not going to happen. But could we? Yes, we could.
And what comes with that is also just everybody, like, you have a big company and like you may have like the budgeting department jokes with like, I don't know, the finance department or the legal department, whatever, controllers. It's the same thing for like cops, sheriff's deputies, whatever, but it's a lot worse. It's a lot worse. They could all try to pull rank on each other at a scene that started in one jurisdiction but ended in another. And it's just like, what are we going to do to like fix this and get away from each other? Like instead of saying, well, you don't tell me what to do over here because it happened on this side of the road. And it's like, so do you want it? Hell no, we're not going to take it. So, I mean, so what's the problem then?
But municipal is different than sheriff.
That's true.
Because if it did happen in their jurisdiction, they have to take it. Yeah. They don't have a choice. Just like it happened in the other municipal jurisdictions, they have to take it. They've got no choice. Now, if a crime is committed on both sides, that they both take it and just file. They both file and they deal with it that way. But if, let's say it was a joint operation with the sheriff's office is going to take it. We're just going to take the whole thing. Like, there's no jurisdictional fight. It's ours because your city resides in our county. So, and I've had people tell me when I was a road dog, traffic deputy, you can't stop me. This is a city. Is that a fact? Yeah, you're not allowed to be in here. You don't say. Well, go ahead and have your license anyway, and we'll just let the judge. I'll let the judge pop your bubble there. Here's your citation. But you don't believe it's going to matter, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I wrote you 5, though. But you're free to go. Drive safe. And then they get to traffic court and find out that, yes, absolutely, we have that jurisdiction. There's no jurisdictional limits inside the county we're employed in. None. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. But I did, and I told you that. But maybe you should pull out the old Constitution every now and then.
Yeah, read it.
So, far western side of Texas, where there's nothing. Like, you may have a county where the only law enforcement you have is the constable of the county, the sheriff of the county, and one trooper who might be assigned to like the 5 counties in that area. And that might be the only cops you got.
Yeah.
But there might probably going to be less than 1,000 people in the whole county because you're talking 1,000-acre ranches. You know, most of those guys don't really have many problems. They tend to handle the things on their own before anybody gets there. And, oh, buried right there. He was rusting my cattle. I took care of it. All right, thanks, Chuck. You know, all right, dig him up. Let's get into the Emmy. You know, so it just depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you want to be law enforcement in any county, I tell people be in the sheriff's office because the sheriff's office swings the big stick. Honestly, we swing the big stick. It's our county. We can take over any case, anywhere, anytime. It's ours.
That'll just ultimately be a hot take. It is just funny because you and me both know there's agencies who do not feel that way, that they are the big dog.
And that's a real shame that they feel that way. And they're entitled to all the feelings they want to have. The Constitution of Texas says different. And so does the government code, the occupations code. You know, they all say different. You know? So, yes, while there are peace officers and their peers, the sheriff is the highest elected law enforcement official in the entire county. He's the man. So he or she, 2024, she could also be the man. That's it. And then everybody else works for, ultimately, that sheriff. And the sheriff has the final call. Now, sheriffs have to work with our partners. You know, sheriffs, municipal police, state police, we all have to work together. We all have the same goal at the end of the day. So we do have to learn how to work together. And it's getting a little better over time. The more we do it, the more things kind of change and realize we all got the same job. It really doesn't matter. Things are starting to notice, I've noticed, do have kind of changed in how we interact with our law enforcement partners. But there's still some hardcore older thought processes like, you know, you guys are XYZ, then we're the greatest, and vice versa. And it's like, okay.
If I had to like simplify it, like using like I don't know why it just came to me. Think of college terms, right? Your city cops will be your freshmen at college, just balls to the wall, stupid, just going out there, just doing whatever, wherever the wind takes them. Your sheriff's deputies would be grad, like say seniors, grad students. They've been there, done that. They're a little more seasoned. And then your, hate to say it, your feds and your state guys, they're the snitches. They're the TAs. They're the party killer. Everybody shows up, and then everybody walks out. Oh, this dude's here?
Yep.
Bye.
Well, state police has a reputation of they don't mess around. They're very much the fuck around and find out.
Oh, so Texas DPS? Yeah, they're not in that category.
Yeah, they don't play.
They're not in that category.
I lump DPS in with Florida Highway Patrol, Georgia State Police. Them boys do not play around.
And the Arkansas boys.
And Arkansas. They don't mess around. They're going to do their job, whether you like it or not. And even CHP in California does their job. Mm-hmm. Them boys don't play either. Most state police agencies don't play.
Yeah,
most of my family is in Montana. Them Montana State Police boys do not mess around. They will not play no games with you. They're going to manhandle you real quick if you get stupid. But that's most police agencies or state agencies.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, because they answer to one person who only answers to one person. So I remember when South Dallas really exploded in violence several years ago. The mayor asked the governor for help. The governor sent in DPS.
I remember that.
And they sent in several hundred troopers into South Dallas and said, get control. They got control all right. And they went through South Dallas like a scythe through the wheat. I mean, they just chopped heads left, right, and center. And people were complaining they were too rough. They're making too many arrests. Too many traffic stops. And then, of course, pursuits from the traffic stop, and they crash. And DPS is like, I didn't make them run.
I think the mayor wanted them out too.
The mayor
when they saw
wanted them out, and the
stat,
governor said no. So they were there like 6 weeks, but they made like 12,000 arrests and recovered a ton of guns and drugs and locked up a bunch of gang members, and the crime rate went like a stone. It dropped. I was like, yeah, because they went in there and did their job, and the Port Dallas cops are like a little more hamstrung. Like, we're not allowed to do that. And they're like, you are legally, it's just your agency's not letting you.
Yeah.
Big difference. You're allowed to do what we're doing. Your agency won't let you. So for those that don't realize it, there's laws and there's policies.
Mm-hmm.
So is it legal to shoot out tires of a fleeing car? Yes, it is. Are most agencies going to allow it? No, they're not.
Absolutely not.
But state police typically will shoot out your tires. They're trained to do it, and they'll pull it right next to you, and they'll take a shotgun right to the tire and blow it out. Can they legally do that? Yes, they can. Can my agency do it? No. Can yours?
Absolutely
Hell no.
not.
You will be fired because our policy says that's a no-go because that is considered deadly force.
Yeah.
So, and because you can hit a speed bump at the wrong moment and the gun comes up and you hit somebody. I mean, it does happen. So, I mean, it's one of those things that you have to be training it. You have to have the right set of conditions. Everything has to just fall together to do that. It's kind of like spikes. The right conditions have to run together to draw out spikes. You don't just wing spikes anywhere you feel like it. There's got to be certain conditions that got to be met. So it's one of those things that it's an option and it's legal, but most agencies aren't going to allow it because it's just, it carries a danger that they're not willing to take. But the state police, like, we don't chase motorcycles. And I'm sure your agency doesn't chase motorcycles either. State police here chases motorcycles and will absolutely chase you on that bullet bike. I've watched them go through Houston 130, 140 chasing a motorcycle. I was like, oh. I was like, God, that must be nice. And they were flying down the highway, and DPS allowed to do that. So we could do that too. We're just not going to because if they crash, more than likely that will be fatal on a motorcycle. And then the family blames us because their son hit the gas.
Yeah.
Well, he could have pulled over any time. He wasn't not stopping because he had a burned out brake light. Okay, there's other reasons he's running. Now, with bullet bikes, could be they want to run because they think it's funny, and they put a GoPro on, and they want to get views, and they run from the cops, not realizing either they realize it's a felony and don't care, or they don't realize it's a felony, and they just don't care. Like, oh, okay, well, whatever, whatever. It's all fun and games until you crash, and then all of a sudden it's a problem. I was on the highway the other day, and there was a guy trying to bait an officer into chase him. I was watching him, and he was on a bullet bike, no plates. I already knew he was going to be a runner just by the fact he had no plates. He had a GoPro on his helmet. And he kept egging the officer on, weaving in the lane in front of him. Then he'd floor it and then come back and kept looking back and trying to motion the officer. And the officer just kind of ignored him, just kept driving.
See, that's a time waster. It's funny because the narrative is I bet you that guy will not post that footage though. Hey, look at me fail at baiting an officer to chase me.
Yeah, because it didn't work.
What's the point, bro?
So
Go about your business.
Yeah, it's a waste of footage. The officer took the next exit and just got off the highway.
Go home.
And then the guy passed me. He looked over me, and I just went. He gave me a thumbs up, and I just did this. And he kind of like, oh, he doesn't agree, and he took off, and I just laughed.
Go ahead and stick.
I was like, please run to the back of this 18-wheeler ahead of us. Just boom, problem solved. Hey, call an officer back over here. But the officer never hit his lights. They wouldn't be able to arrest him anyway for evading because he never turned on his lights. He just wasn't going to be baited. He just wasn't going to. He's like, no, we're not allowed to, and I'm not going to bother wasting my time. What you do in those situations, if you see someone doing that, just follow him. Eventually, you drop back, he'll get off, fall into a gas station or something. That's when you pull up. All right, come here. You didn't have a license plate back on the highway. I need a driver's license to prove insurance. Now the kid's going to run. He's going to run on foot, and you just tow the bike.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he didn't come back. I'll take his bike. That's the smart way to do it. And then he's got to impound it, and then you tell the tow yard, don't release it till you get a photocopy of their license.
Yep.
Now we know who it was. Problem solved. I don't got to chase him jumping over fences now. I'll find out who he is when he comes to pick up the bike.
Work smarter, not harder.
That's right. Work smarter, not harder. Now, the young rookie, I'd be like, oh, no, I'm going to chase him over fences, and I'm old now. Nope. No, I'm going to let you tire yourself out. I'm just going to take your bike from you. And then when you come down to get it, Texas Towing or Roadrunner or Banis or whatever other company is going to hold, they're going to take a photocopy of your license and they're going to let us know who it was so that we can go, oh, this was the rider. Or at least the owner. Might not be the rider, but at least the owner. We can call him and go, hey, is that your bike? Yeah. Why the hell did you run from me last week? Click, more likely. So I love working with my law enforcement partners. I do. I like the different mentalities we all bring to the table. Certain units inside those agencies are a little more high speed than others. Like you got your gang units and your traffic units. Like when I was traffic, we worked hand in hand with the municipal traffic agencies around us. We worked hand in hand together. DOE task force, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But being specialized, we tend to train together and work together a lot more. And our SWAT team works very well with the city SWAT team. They train together, they do things together. Our mental health units work with their mental health units. It just seems to be the patrolmen that just don't seem to get along.
I know, it sucks.
And I found out why from my neighbor. My old neighbor was a San Antonio police officer, and he told me it's because of the academy. They're told we're better than you are. And he told his trainees, you're not. You have the same job they do. They're making half the money you're making doing the same job with no backup. You will respect them because they're doing the same job you do, but they don't have backup. So you better remember that. So he said that started changing some of and honestly, I've never really had a problem with them. At a ground level, we don't have issues. We get along. We have the same job. I backed them up. They backed me up. We roll up on a neighbor. They're chasing somebody on the net. We pop in. Y'all need help? We switch their frequency to help them out. We all have the same goal. We all have the same job to knock down the crime rate, to arrest offenders. I don't see the issue with working together. I think we should work together. The more you work together, the better you have an understanding, and the better you can actually go your goal of controlling the crime, which is rising.
Yeah.
Because isn't that the ultimate goal, to lower the crime rate?
Yeah, should be anyway.
So let's work together. But a lot of that is just institutional. It's just always going to be institutional. And I'm willing to bet you most counties and city, it's going to be that way.
Yeah.
Now, where I'm from in Northern California, city and county work very well together. They go to the same academy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the same academy for both agencies, and then they split off where they're going to go. They use the same frequencies, same dispatchers, same CAD, same report system, same everything, and they work together.
That's the problem here. Too many different academies, number one.
Yep.
All the municipalities want to do their own thing.
Different report writing system, different dispatchers. From
everybody, because I guess the idea is, well, we got the latest and greatest here, and that gives us a leg up on everybody else here. The way they do things, it could be appropriate, but it's not as efficient. Come here. They use it as selling points. But kind of sucks when you got to switch over 8 channels to find out what's going on for a place that's literally like half a block over on the other side.
I mean, you can't put everybody on the same channel. That's not going to work. That flat out is not going to work. If you have a large agencies, you're not going to be able to just you're stepping on each other's traffic. If you got to close the air because of a pursuit, or you're clearing a house, or you're fighting with somebody, there's 50 other people that need a case number. They're about to get into some shit. Yeah. They need help. Yeah. And then you got the channel closed. You forgot to open it. So that doesn't work. Yeah. And for any San Antonio police listening to this, I love y'all. I get along very well with them. I work with them. I've dealt with rookies that maybe had kind of some of that attitude, but the older ones, the older officers that I've worked with stomp that quick.
Yeah, it's not helpful.
But I am friends with a lot of fellow officers in that agency, and we get along just fine. Mm-hmm. But those are a little older, a little more seasoned, where they understand that we really do have the same job. It doesn't matter what uniform we wear. At the end of the day, our commission card says the same thing, Texas. Yeah. So it doesn't matter who you're paid by. It matters who you serve. Mm-hmm. And you serve the citizens of the county or city you work in. That's it. That's your job. And you may not always like your citizens. You may not always like the people in that county or that city or whatever. But guess what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Your personal feelings don't mean shit. Mm-hmm. You give them the same service. Easier said than done. You get more flies with honey than vinegar. So if you call law enforcement, and we've had it, where they call 911 and then they want to scream and cuss at you when you get there. I'm like, you called us. Yeah, I don't like the police. Okay, that's fine. And you don't have to, but you called us. So what can I do for you? Wow, this is bullshit. I don't even know why I called you. Okay, well then we'll leave. Well, I called you, you're not helping me. What do you need then? Tell me what you need. And then finally they tell you what you need. And you're like, okay, that's civil. I'm going to give you the phone number of the civil courts. Oh, you just don't want to help me? And away they go. It's like, oh my God, dude. You created the mess. You want me to fix your mess. Yeah. I don't want to fix your mess. You created that mess. So, yeah, we get that a lot. I've heard that from every agency I've ever worked with. You get those people that they don't like the cost, but they got a call because we're the only ones that can handle the situation. 99% of the job, or 99% of the time, it's a situation they created. Yeah. Well, you created it. Now you want me to fix it. And I always ask them, well, how would you fix it if I wasn't here? I've done that before. Make them think. How would you fix it? And you can kind of see the candle flickering in their head. I won't say light bulb. I'll say the candle flickering. Oh my God. Try that next time and just see if you get a different result. Mm-hmm. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. We can rag on each other's different agencies. But at the end of the day, for the most part, from what I've seen in the almost 12 years I've been doing this, we will work together. And we have been working together. The mindset has shifted over the years. It used to be a very divided line between agencies, a very divided line. I mean, it was purely, you didn't want to see a municipal police car crossing the county territory. You get bitched at. Those deputies turn around, take your butt back over there.
You see that with a lot of
Different
the older officers. Yeah, like they bring all that history and that knowledge of how things used to be, but this time is just too different.
But now, no, it's just we have the same goal. We have the same mission. We have the same mission at the end of the day. Whether you're Navy SEAL or you're Delta, it doesn't matter. You have the same mission to fulfill the orders of the President of the United States and secure the national security of this country. That's it. That's your goal. Whether you go, how you go about it, doesn't matter. Did you get to the same goal? Did you keep this country safe? So it's the same with law enforcement. Did you keep the county safe today? Did you do your job? If you did your job, you can sleep with the righteous because you did it. You know, this whole headbutting among agencies, it really does need to stop. We all work together. You know, you may get a podunk, little town. That doesn't make him any less a cop than you. That's just by virtue where he works. Help him out if you know something he doesn't know.
Right.
Give him a hand. I don't know how many times I've pulled up and helped the smaller agencies that need. Yeah, what do you need, man? I got you. Let me give you a hand. What do you need? Tow sheets. I got you. Whatever. We're here to work together. But he's going to remember that next time I need help and I'm in his city.
Yeah.
And he's going to pull up. I need backup. And that's going to be the one pulling up because my guys are 10 miles out further and he's right down the street. He's going to pull up. What you got? Hey, detain that guy.
Right.
Just detain him real quick. And it's mine. It's all mine. But hey, detain that dude for me. They'll cuff him, throw him in their car. And then I can go over there and go, hey, man, what's the deal? XYZ. And then by the time my guys start showing up, you can transfer him to that dude and you can take off, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Or stick around or whatever and give me a hand or whatever. I don't know how many pursuits I've assisted other agencies. I get in behind them. I'm number 2 and I'm calling it. Freeing them up just to follow the car.
Right.
And it's still their arrest. It's not mine. But I'm going to assist them and I'm not going to let them do a felony stop on a fleeing vehicle by themselves and go, oh, it's not my agency. So, hey, I can't help you. Wrong answer. Wrong answer because that'll be me one day. And anybody with a gun, help me, please. Because I don't know what's in this car. It could be 4 gangbangers with Uzis or one just scared teenage gangbanger who's like, oh my God, what do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know. Until I know, I'd like as many guns. What's the rules of gunfight? Bring all your friends with guns too. bring your guns and let's figure this out. And then if it turns out to be nothing, great. Appreciate the help. Have a good day. So that's my foot stomp on working with other agencies. It's fun to talk shit with each other, but at the end of the day, we have the same job.
Yeah.
And we got to work together.
Yeah.
I may not be a fan of every officer from every agency I've ever ran into. There are some that are just assholes, and even in my own agency. It is what it is. But I don't have to like you to work with you. If you can do your job and you have integrity, then I'll work with you. We're not going to go hang out after work and bang back beers. But if you need help and you call, I'm going to be there. If I need help and I call and you'll be there, that's all I ask for. Do your job. We don't got to be friends. So, unfortunately, some people can't separate personal from professional.
Yeah, no.
And it creates issues. They show up and they're running their mouth. You're looking at your camera like, really, dude?
See it all the time.
Yeah, you're looking at your camera like, this whole conversation is being recorded like, you need to stop, dude.
Very, very bad example of that is, this happened like some years ago. I don't really remember what state both of the agencies were in, but the jailers were told not to process city arrest and to process the county guys' arrests first in the state and let the city guys come in third. And it literally caused the city guys to block the Sallyport entrance to the jail. And then sergeants from both agencies started bickering with each other, even threatening to fight each other. Insanity. And then the big wigs had to be called in the middle of the night because this all happened at night.
And how does that look to the citizens of that county and city?
And you got
really? This is who we have? They can't get along?
You got deputies and officers, toneouts. You heard like 2 toneouts. They had a burglary in progress, but the deputy could not leave because the sergeant from the city agency told them to block the exit in the entrance so nobody could get in. This is the stupidest thing ever. Stupid on the detention officers inside, but they're only, I guess, just following orders. Even dumber on the guys outside to realize, hey, this is stupid. We should let our bosses take care of this.
Yeah, let the chief get with the sheriff or vice versa, or the chiefs talk to each other, whatever. Like, we're not involved in this. Problem is, they made themselves involved.
Yeah, and then
it's just dumb.
It went like at least like local. I say it went past the local level. Now you got major news outlets, maybe not all of them, but you got one or two of them picking it up, and they're running with it. And now the agency gets a bad look, and all of law enforcement gets the black eye. It never just starts and stops with that one department for that one officer that did something stupid.
And somebody's camera was on. And if I were that news agency, I would ask to do a Freedom of Information Act for that camera footage.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to hear crap that no sheriff or chief is ever going to want publicly out there. And How'd that make you look at the end of the day? Stupid.
Yeah.
Because ultimately what you did was hurt the citizens.
Yeah.
Because those tone outs and those officers couldn't go. Those deputies could not leave for those toned out calls. That's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredibly dangerous now.
Yeah.
So now you are putting citizens in danger because of your personal bickering.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I were the sheriff and the chief, boy, that would have been a bad night. I'd have been coming down on everybody. My goodness, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what happens when agencies, the bickering is so bad that they just choose to like
let it
let the
affect
feelings,
them.
let the
professionally.
feelings take over the professionalism, and then you have dumb things like that.
That's utterly amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very sad story, actually. That really is, because that breaks my heart to hear that.
It was crazy, like just watching like the news story and then the body camera footage, because there were several officers and deputies who had the cameras running.
Oh, I'm sure the deputies turned their cameras on. Like, oh no, we didn't do anything wrong. We're not falling on the sword for this when it doesn't make the news. We didn't do it. You know?
Yeah. So it was just city officers not even being allowed to bring the prisoners in because the master control at the county jail told them you're not coming in, and they just kept them out in the vestibule area.
You know who's really suffering there is the guys working booking, because when they do finally allow them to come in, they ain't gonna have a choice. They're gonna get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be 60 at one time. You're like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling those officers to get back out and do their job, because they got to process their prisoner, and they can't release the prisoner until he's in custody.
I heard some of the prisoners got released. They got released and they just filed it large.
File large. Yeah.
Because of the
you know what? Get out of here.
Yeah. Like, what?
That is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
Somebody got fired there for that.
Oh.
Somebody lost a job for that.
Oh, yeah.
And they needed to,
Yeah.
honestly, because that's juvenile. It's asinine. It's infantile. It's dumb. Well, listeners, now you can see why maybe sometimes you hear stories like that from deputies or officers or state police, and now maybe it gave you a glimpse as to why that happens. It doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we got to work together. And if you took anything I said as me disrespecting any of those agencies I mentioned, I do not. I love them and I work with them, so please don't take it that way. I don't need to be canceled in cancel culture. So
They're going to see your call sign a cat and cancel you.
cancel me. That's right. They cancel me. The whole culture of I didn't like what he said, so now I'm going to go cry about it. And like a cry like a girl Kwon Do is everyone's favorite martial art anymore. So, listeners, we hope you enjoyed today's show. We're trying to catch back up, like I mentioned last episode. We're trying to catch back up, bring some more content to y'all. We have some things down the road that we may end up bringing out as well. We just have to kind of get in place for that, and there's some stuff we got to do to get there. But we're trying the best we can to keep y'all entertained as best we can, give you something to listen to, and maybe give us some glimpse into the life of law enforcement and how it really works and what we really think. At the end of the day, though, we work for you, citizens, and we're going to do our job to protect you as best we can. But we're always going to try to find the funny in it, because humor, I think, really helps. It lowers my stress levels when I laugh. So you got to find the funny. So, J-Man, you got anything else to add?
No, all good.
Well, brothers and sisters, please stay safe out there. Take care of each other. Watch your backs. And serve your community with pride and wear that badge with pride and honor. And you'll never have a problem. You'll be able to retire and get fat and play golf every day like the Lord intended.
There you go.
So, from T-Bone and J-Man here at Running Code, we wish everybody to have a great week. And we're out here.
Yep.